Oh, it says please request. Are you recording, Miranda?
It's recording.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Hi, everyone. So I just wanted to thank you all for being able to meet today. This meeting is a case consultation for Allison, and I will be facilitating. I want to remind us all that this is our second to last meeting. So I would like us all just to reflect on the process of our group meetings so far and think of 1 to 2 words that just describe how we're feeling about this being our second to last meeting and our meetings coming to an end. So this will be popcorn style. So whoever would like to start can go ahead.
I would say I'm feeling bittersweet, but optimistic.
A bit relieved, but also bittersweet. It's true.
I will say I'm feeling productive and inspired.
Nice.
I'm definitely motivated because I feel like I've been out of the loop for a while. So I'm feeling fresh.
Oh, great. So I would just say that I'm feeling also bittersweet, but really proud of how far we've come as a group. So we will begin with phase 1, which is the solution focused questions. And so Diana, you will be asking questions 1, 2, and 6. Miranda, you will ask questions 3 and 5. And Jim, you will ask questions 4 and 7. Just as a reminder, this phase should be 12 to 15 minutes, and I will do my best to keep us on track in terms of time. So whenever you are ready, Diana, you can start us off.
Okay. So Allison, what are your best hopes for this consultation today?
So I think I'm just really looking for some positive peer support in recognizing areas that I am already engaging in positive communication. But I would also like to just feel more empowered to advocate for myself in my field placement and be confident in my ability to relate to and connect to hard to reach individuals, and just understand my communication abilities both professionally and relative to clients within that hard to reach kind of context of communicating.
And how will you know that this conversation was helpful?
I think in the short term, I will know this conversation has been helpful when I feel like maybe I have more of a concrete approach to how I head into my field placement this next week.
Okay, and so you basically hope to have a better sense of communication with your field supervisor and intern coworkers. I'm sorry, I'm not making too much sense right there, but that's what
I think I'm just looking to feel empowered by the end of this conversation and take that sense of empowerment into the communication that I'm going to be experiencing these last couple weeks in my field placement to make the experience just a little bit more meaningful. But then in a longer term sense, I will have more of a renewed sense of confidence in my communication skills and my approaches of dealing with hard to reach individuals, both in a supervision kind of context, but also in working with clients, just as I move forward professionally, since field is coming to a close and there's not much time left in this relationship. I just want to conceptualize that in a broader sense to move forward.
Okay, and I think that basically answered the first 2 questions. It's really the best hope for yourself in this situation, because you want to advocate for yourself and have a better for your own communication style.
Yeah.
So, I think that answered both questions. Am I right, Brianna?
Yeah, that's good. So Miranda, next question.
And it is really interesting, Diana, to note that they do kind of overlap quite a lot. I was thinking that when I was reading the presentation. So Allison, suppose your best hopes are realized, right? And you walk into field this week feeling empowered, feeling like you have a handle on how you want to be able to communicate. Is this just your last week at field? Or do you
No, it's not. So I'm going until about May 15th, but this is going to be the last week that I'm communicating with my supervisor. So I'm going to have no supervision moving forward throughout May.
Okay, so this is your last week of supervision, and so you're heading into kind of an important week because then you have 2 weeks after that without any supervision, just kind of doing your thing. And so say your best hopes are realized, you walk in tomorrow, right? With like this sense of empowerment and a concrete approach, you said, heading into field placement, what will be different?
I think what's going to be different is my ability to ask for what I need and communicate that more effectively to others, especially in a context of like regarding support. Um, I think in general, like that would look like my communication skills being stronger and me being more confident. Right now, I tend to shy away from confrontation, and I worry a lot about what other people think, and like about how what I say or feel might be upsetting or hurting them. So I think that if my best hopes were realized, I would be able to kind of toe that line a little bit more effectively, and not worry so much about how I might be hurting others while also being conscious of their feelings, and just better be able, like, I would be able to better get my point across as I stumble over my words right now.
And what do you think Kate would notice was different about you this week?
I think that she would notice a sense of like stronger self-advocacy, and in turn just being more empowered. And I think that she would notice me being more skillful in my approaches to our communication surrounding what my needs are.
Okay. And what do you suppose that would look like, just being, oh, that's a scaling question, I'm going to wait. So what do you think, how much, I don't know how much you interface with the other two people in your peer supervision group that you referenced, but I wonder what they might notice would be different about you, or how that might impact the peer supervision process.
So I really have kind of taken a step back from that peer supervision process. I just have felt very removed from it, and I've kind of taken a back seat. I'm somebody that I would say tends to be more of a leader, so I like really used to take charge a lot in that group and just kind of initiate conversation and direct conversation. And lately, like, I've just been feeling really burnt out because of this experience, so I've taken a back seat. And I think maybe they would see me kind of stepping up to the plate again and initiating conversation. Again, that kind of experience of self-advocacy. And maybe I would hope that they would feel more empowered by my feelings and expression of empowerment.
Great.
Great. I'm just going to cut in and ask Jim to go next. We're about halfway through our time.
And I'm muted. Hey, Allison. So it sounds like to me we're going to talk about scaling. In terms of where you feel you're at right now, if we're looking at number one being, let's start positively. If you're looking at a 10 is, I am able to ask for support. I'm able to advocate for myself. I'm able to ask for things that I need to do my best in my field placement. That's a 10. Let's say a 1 is not doing the opposite of that, basically going in and not asking for any of those things, or being able to. What kind of number do you feel you're at right now?
I would say I'm actually probably around a 5 or a 6.
Okay. And what are the indicators that you're at that 5 or 6?
So I have already taken steps to advocate for not only myself, but also the other interns. I took my concerns to my field liaison, so somebody directly in the field office, as well as my task supervisor. And I've kind of just stepped up as that unofficial advocate for all three of us. So I feel like that has kind of shown that I can take the approach to ask for what I need. And I feel like I feel confident in the ways that I have asked for what I needed. It's just my needs aren't being met. So I feel like the reason that I'm at a 6 and maybe not a little bit higher is I'm not reaching the person that needs to help me meet those needs. So I need to effectively communicate with her and tune into her communication skills to get my point across.
Yeah. And you kind of indicated it already a little bit already, but how do you feel that you're maybe not a 4? What in terms of what 5 and 6 looks like?
I think I'm kind of like moving in that direction with the way that I was feeling in terms of taking a step back, not really wanting to engage in a group supervision, and everything like that, and just kind of resigning myself to the fact that this is just, it is what it is, and I just have to accept that this is my field placement. So I think that that's why I'm not at a 4, because I'm not there yet.
Right.
But I feel like I'm moving in that direction, and I don't want to be.
It's interesting we're doing it this time of the year. If we had this conversation in January, how different it would be, what you've, resolved, what you are like, well, if that is what it is, or if you're really anxious and busy to try to get where you want to be. But I really appreciate your honesty about, like, you've got a month left and you want to leave a mark and you want to learn stuff and you want to be able to learn how to get support you need. But in that time, where is it that you'd like to be? What number makes sense to you that you feel would be good?
I feel like I would maybe want to be an 8.
Ooh, all right.
That's cool.
And I guess that would feel like I don't have to accept my field placement for it being what it is, and that I can kind of take control of my experience and not be so afraid of upsetting others with how I'm feeling and what my experiences are in that moment.
Mm-hmm. And what?
Oh, sorry to cut you off.
No.
I just wanted to say thank you for your insightful questions and responses so far. But if we could have Miranda ask the next question.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Allison, I guess I feel like you've already kind of answered this question of what you're already doing that's on track. I guess I have a question around, what are you doing to create a sense of safety for yourself? You talked several times about communicating your needs. I wonder, how do you go about identifying your needs and creating that sense of safety for you?
So to be perfectly honest, I feel like I'm creating a false sense of safety. And I really feel like in the ways that I'm approaching things, by kind of avoiding confrontation and being too worried about how others will perceive me and how that might impact my experience, I'm creating a false sense of comfort for my field educator by not effectively communicating with her how I'm feeling and how she's kind of coming across. And in doing so, it's actually not creating a safe environment for me and my co-interns. However, on the other hand, I feel like by taking the steps that I've taken to reach out to the field office and my supervisors, I have created a sense of safety in trying to support the other interns, especially because I feel like they have been more heavily impacted in their interactions with Kate.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't necessarily know how to bring in some of these other questions. I guess you've already alluded to the fact that what you're doing that's on track is you have strong leadership skills, you advocate for the group, you contact appropriate hires up. What are you already doing, do you think, that's on track with Kate specifically?
I think I'm trying to play to some of Kate's strengths and like adhering to the roles that she wants us to fulfill in our placement. Like she's kind of expressed like what she expects group supervision to look like relative to a textbook definition of what group dynamics are and how a group should progress, as well as like what supervision should be. So I'm trying really hard to adhere to those guidelines to help her in her position, but it's really not helping me in that way, if that makes sense.
Is there anything that you're doing with Kate that does work for you?
That's a really hard question. I would say probably not, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm effectively supporting myself by the way that I'm interacting with her.
Okay.
Okay. Diana?
So what is Kate doing to keep on track of her, what she's supposed to do as your supervisor?
So I'm going to start this off with like a short story that sounds like she's not really on track, but I promise I'll wrap it up with the way that she is. So just before the COVID outbreak, there was an incident where Kate screamed at me and the other two interns in the middle of the football complex after the other two interns completed a presentation. And it was it was really bad. But she immediately recognized like where she had kind of slipped up and made a mistake and how she was inappropriate in her interactions. And she apologized and sought out ways to kind of smooth over the conflict. And since then, I think that she's been a little bit more aware of the uncomfortability and like the tension that's in the group. And I think she's beginning to understand like how she might be coming across to us and how it's impacting us. And I feel like she's trying to take steps to be more conscious of that.
I think it's great, Allison, that you were able to take a moment that you could have just thought of as just a really awful situation and were able to see the good and how Kate kind of recovered from that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jim, if you could kind of finish off.
You got it. So you indicated that you feel that you're in the 5 or 6 range, which, by the way, kudos, because it sounds like things have been tough, and that's really optimistic look. You said you'd like to be at an 8. There's, a number in between there, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's that little next step that would feel like you're nudging in that direction?
I think ultimately I've already known what the next steps should be, and I just have been letting my fear get in the way of me taking them. I think that the next step would really be having an open and honest conversation with Kate and addressing my concerns directly with her. Again, like I just haven't felt comfortable doing that because I don't want to upset her, but ultimately if I'm upset in the situation, it's not going to better serve us, any of us. So I think maybe effectively having a conversation with her about what my experiences are and how I'm feeling might help move things in the right direction.
Yeah, and you kind of answered the next question of how that would be helpful, but like, I mean, just an environment that you want to work in, and it's setting you up for a future of your life of knowing how to say, I need this to do my best here, and feel comfortable with that and not worry about other people's feelings being hurt and upsetting them.
I also think too that this is her second time. This is Kate's second time supervising at this specific placement. And I think, and I know that this happened last year as well. So I think that maybe by effectively communicating with Kate, maybe tomorrow, I would also be kind of setting the stage for how things go next semester or next year with the other interns that are coming in. And I would like to make a positive impact in that way as well.
That's a really nice way of putting it.
Yeah, that's great. So that'll conclude the first phase. And we'll start on the second phase, which is the wonderment. So I'm going to ask Allison to turn off her camera and just remind her that she is not to respond to any of our wonderments. And the order will go Jim, Diana, and then Miranda. So you guys are free to start.
Just jot this down. Like, I wonder what assigning board can kind of continues to keep this person in this position without any type of consultation. I'll follow that up with, I wonder if there is a suitable survey feedback form at the conclusion of the field placement.
And I'm wondering if Allison realizes how much she is effectively communicating, that she is advocating for herself already and has done so. I'm wondering how much she realizes that she's done that already.
That's pretty amazing, right? Because like communication depends on a person giving a message and a person receiving the message. So just because the person doesn't receive the message doesn't necessarily mean you didn't send it clearly. So I love that you brought that up, Diana. I was wondering if Allison could tune into herself with as much sensitivity as she seems to tune into Kate.
Yeah, to mirror that, I think that's a good point. I wonder if the amount of care and focus on her own feelings is the same of that of the worry and care of a somewhat toxic situation and individual.
And I'm wondering how much Allison has grown since the beginning of this field placement till now, working with Kate and advocating for the other interns as well as herself.
I wonder what Kate would actually say about Allison's performance in her internship if she was asked.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if, oh, I just had it. That's so annoying. I wonder if, oh, I just had it at the tip of my tongue is a really good one too.
We can always come back to you if you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Brianna. Yeah. Let me jog my memory here.
All right, Deanna, do you have any others?
I wonder what the other interns, if they feel empowered from Allison advocating for them.
I wonder how Allison manages to stay passionate. I mean, that's the thing that really came through in her case consultation. How does she manage to stay passionate even in intimidating situations?
Yeah, I just remembered. I wonder if Allison knows what a massive impact this is going to be on her future of working with others in other facilities, because this only makes you stronger. It only makes you see how you should be and can be advocating for yourself. Not being a rat or a snitch or something like that, but how do we go into work and stay up and not burn out because we're not communicating with each other?
Does anyone else have any other wonderments?
I do, surprisingly. On a macro level, I wonder if there's a difference between being passive, being aggressive, and being assertive, and how being a woman, and also in Kate's case, a queer person, impacts the difference between those three things and our understanding of those three things. And this is a long wonderment, and how we kind of internalize those roles.
Yeah, I like that. I wonder how at a macro level our lives and society and culture influences our comfort of approaching, depending on any individual, who it is, whoever your supervisor is, how comfortable you feel about speaking up for yourself.
Mm-hmm. The last one I had is, well, that's not true. I have many more, but I'm just gonna do this one. I wonder how Allison would describe her favorite teacher, coach, or boss, and what traits she values in a supervisor or mentor. And if that might help. Sometimes I'm like, oh, no one's meeting my needs. I don't know what I need. Like if I actually sat and made a list of what I need, I don't know if I could tell you. I just wonder if she could conjure those favorite people in her mind. I wonder if it would help her paint a portrait of what effective supervision would look like for her.
I wonder if their initial meeting, sounds like it didn't. I wonder if their initial meeting laid out expectations for the semester and a schedule and what they're hoping to gain.
So I just want to thank you all for your very thoughtful wonderments, and we will move on to phase 3, which is the compliment phase. So Allison, you can turn your camera back on. So the order for the compliments will be Miranda, Jim, Diana, and then myself. So Miranda, whenever you're ready.
I am just blown away by Allison's creativity and perseverance, even in finding this dilemma to write about. It's something we talked a lot about as a group. And when I read the case presentation, I was really impressed that she was assertive even just in writing this, right? So.
Yeah, this was complicated. I felt a little sorry because I felt my case was just like, here's a client. So this was just a little like, how do I address this? And my compliment is you were able to dissect and organize your thoughts in those brackets really well to kind of help me see what you were going for and what you needed help with. It was really, really well organized.
Yeah, I'm completely impressed with the fact that you were able to self-advocate. Maybe you don't realize it, but you really did. And that's so strong. You have such strength by doing that, because it's scary. I could agree. I get scared if I have to confront any type of situation. So I'm very impressed with your strength, and your communication skills are very good.
Thank you.
And I'm just very impressed with your vulnerability with presenting this case. I know this is just a very personal thing to present about, and I applaud your vulnerability. And I'm going to ask us each to just share one more compliment.
All right, but I'm going to make it 3 sentences.
All right.
Okay, one, I appreciate how fair Allison's being in the situation by really trying to see both sides. And a semicolon. To go harken back to Denise's lecture on Saturday, like I am impressed that Allison's like trying to already make meaning from this, even though she's still in the middle kind of the tough situation. She's already thinking about like trying to make sense of it all and apply lessons to her next field placement, and that's awesome.
Thank you.
Throughout this whole, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you're there.
Oh no.
No, I think
Okay,
you froze.
I just would say throughout everything, am I back? Am I good? Am I
Yeah,
good?
you're good.
Good. Throughout this whole thing and the coronavirus, you're nothing short of extremely passionate for this branch of social work that you want to do. And it came clear that you want to work with student athletes in this setting. And I had to like close my eyes and picture it. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And it's uniquely your passion. And that won't stand a chance against any kind of toxic situation, I think.
And I really want to say how, again, I'm very impressed with not only the fact that you're doing a great job at what you're, advocating for yourself and communicating, but you had said you kind of stepped back and you lost interest, but now you're going to go back in with more power. And I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'll just end with the fact that I'm just really impressed that you've had the insights to be able to tune into yourself and also Kate and just the dynamics of that relationship. And you've been able to tune in your own strengths and into Kate's strengths. And I think you'll be able to use that to your advantage. So now we will move on to phase 4, which is the debrief. So I'd just like to start with you, Allison, and ask how this consultation has been for you.
It's been great. It was really cool to experience this as a case presenter, this process as a case presenter. The wonderment phase was that's something that I struggled with the most, like across this entire process, was the wonderment phase. And it was really awesome to sit back and actually, hear what everyone had to say and how they were conceptualizing the wonderments. It was really hard not to interject also, which is why I was on mute. And the compliment phase, I struggle taking compliments. Like that is like one thing that I am really so bad at in all areas of my life. So like that was difficult, but like it was really nice.
That's great. So now I'll open it up to the rest of the group and just ask how this process was for everyone else. And I'm just curious to see if you have noticed if anything was different, good or bad, from the last time we've met.
I'll pop in right away because I haven't been here, and the first time I was there, I was the facilitator. So this was a totally different experience. I felt very much more in tune to what was going on, more involved, because as a facilitator, I was much more focused on who's going next and who's going to answer what question, and are we on time? So it was a completely different experience for me this time. And thank you for all being so understanding,
Are you kidding? Oh, we just want to make sure you're okay,
I'm good. But thanks. This was really different than the first time I did it.
I think what's a little bit better since last time, or what's changed, is we're starting to spend, and I'm sad actually that this is like our 4th time, we're starting to spend more time on process stuff and actually like working out some more like implicit rules as a group. Like I said in my paper, that there was kind of like an implicit rule that you didn't talk over someone else's question, or I kind of like thought that was, or I felt like I couldn't interject. And so I think just having really like much more honest dialogue before we start recording was really helpful in generating the outcome we wanted to have.
I think its relevance is just we're like hitting our stride, because I'm thinking about the test one of these we did on a Saturday months ago, and it was quiet and people were whispering like, I wonder if they thought that, this is a lot more than just the practicality, the relevance. How on earth, Lord willing, that I will be working somewhere with 4 other colleagues where we could sit around and do this. We're like, we're not trying to correct the case on this situation, but what we're trying to do is how you can get what you need and just get it out better. You know, I just think we're sharpening this sword really well. And yeah, I think just had a good flow to it. It was nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Brianna, you were really excellent at facilitating too. You know, you had no problem. I know when I did it, I panicked and didn't say anything. You were like, okay, let's move it along.
But I tried.
And you did it great, very gracefully.
Yes.
Diplomatic, but gracefully.
I was a little bit like, oh, that's how you do that. She should have come before me.
So I'd like us just to close with
You didn't say how you feel, did you?
Oh, no, thank you. So this was an eye-opening experience being the facilitator. There's a lot of things to juggle. And I did find it harder to concentrate on the actual content of what we were discussing, but I felt like as the process went on, I was able to do that more and more. So I just appreciated having this opportunity to have this role and to experience it.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, so I would like to close with us each sharing a way that we feel like we've grown from this group process. And just, this is another opportunity for us to reflect on this meeting today and the course of meetings that we've had over the semester. So I'll go first, and then the rest of you can just go popcorn style. So I personally feel like I've grown more confident in just my ability to participate in and contribute to our meetings, and I have been able to use this confidence in my field placement.
I mean, I think it's making me think about, not to take it too big, but like the whole course of where I'm going in social work. I thought for sure I wanted to just do clinical, like kind of one-on-one work. And I was a teacher, an English teacher before this. I taught middle and high school English, and I'm really missing the whole group vibe. And I'm taking groups this summer as an advanced interventions course, and it's making me like realize that groups is like really exciting to me, the dynamic of it, the way the pieces fit together, and then I need to be like moving toward the work that makes me excited.
I would say I kind of agree in the same context that like this experience has made me more open to groups, and also I just feel I don't know like what it is about this. It just all made me feel stronger. I think it could be like that solution focused vibe, like being so positive about how we approach every situation. Maybe it's just made me more positive, which in turn has made me stronger. But I feel like I can take that into my work and into my life.
This has been challenging in a lot of different mediums, like and disciplines in terms of writing and comprehension and speech and presentation and all of that. So I think we have to get our thoughts together. I think overall that the word I'd choose would be more constructive. Like my delivery is more constructive. It's more, I mean, not like it's reflecting right now. It takes less time. It's more to the point. It's relevant. Say what you need to in 3 words instead of 7. Like without also with keeping it all in there. I don't know. I think it's I feel smarter, like in how we're comprehending all this information and how we're adding to this stuff, and also the kind of dissection of our prep of the actual meaning of this meeting in January. It was like, so we all get together and we talk about cases in our field work. Got it. Mm-hmm. Not really. That's not really it. It's a different type of digestion. So like that understanding has been really, really cool.
Yeah, I could see how, I mean, I'm very comfortable with you guys, but it's also how we're social working as we're social working. You know what I mean? Like we're building each other up and we're gaining strength from each other, motivating each other. It's just been such a great, the whole class has been really good this way, like actually doing, and you feel like you're being a social worker for real, not just taking a class. Is that making sense? I don't know if it makes sense.
I don't know how else they, yeah,
it does.
You're being your own social worker too. I mean, I feel like, we all almost like came to the case presentation by being like, oh shit, I already knew what to do the whole time. But it's like, until you sat in the group and like had to write it out, you're like, all right, I'm going to do that thing I knew I was supposed to do. And there's something about like being accountable to a group that, I mean, I went and like lit my I didn't do a good job after, but I wanted to with the suggestions I had. And that's cool. Like there's like, I'm seeing like real, I felt energized, Jim, by your case, and I felt energized, Allison, by yours, because there's like, you're talking about when Jim was like, one step I can take Monday, he means like tomorrow. Like
Right.
that's really cool. Like we're talking at 9:18 p.m. and Allison's going to field tomorrow, and she's going to have a very aggressive conversation with Kate.
Assertive.
Direct.
Yeah.
I mean assertive.
Yeah, no, this has been great. Thank you guys. And if you could end the recording, Miranda.
Yes, I will. Stop. Right? Wait, hold on.
Still recording.
Stop.